Welcome to Field Sports Britain. Today we're at Stormont, Northern Ireland's Parliament. But today there's no political skin and hair flying. What we're going to do is celebrate the Great Game Fairs of Ireland 2010 and the launch of the Year of the Horse. I'm Paul Pringle. I'm your host for today. You'll enjoy the show. Why exactly are we here today? Well, we're going to show off the best of field sports and we're going to make a point. First question to you, Tom Fulton, as Chairman of the Hunting Association of Northern Ireland. Is hunting alive and well today?
It is, Paul. It is. It could be a lot stronger, obviously. More people seek to join us, but it's alive and well.
What sort of numbers turn out these days? Is it just as good as always, or is it increasing?
There are increases with some packs, others are holding their own. But in general, there would be more people than, say, 5 years ago.
Okay, legislation in the UK, well, we've all seen that turn against hunting. In fact, some people from there actually come across to Ireland to hunt. Is there anything threatening that would stop hunting in Northern Ireland?
There is I think it's a motion, I should call it, going before Stormont next week to put the hare, or the Irish hare, on Schedule 5, which would effectively deal. We're hoping that doesn't happen because the best conservators of the hare are the people who hunt it. And that's true of animals in general. Where there's hunting in a strong way, then the quarry species are strong too.
Ms. Brown, turning to you now. Another hunting enthusiast and a hunting commentator and a writer. Do you think hunting's flourishing in your part of the world?
Well, certainly hunting has got great support, both from those who participate and from the farmers and landowners who welcome us across their land. I am president of the Irish Masters of Beagles Association, do all my hunting on foot, and we've seen increased numbers of people coming out hunting with the foothounds over the last few years. That might be symptomatic of recession and perhaps people not able to afford to do other more expensive forms of the sport, but we've got plenty of followers, and really the only cloud on the horizon is this threat to place the Irish hare under permanent protection, which would be a great handicap to us, because although beagling and foot harriers doesn't as an objective the killing of hares, we simply want to see hares running in their natural environment. The misguided politicians seem to think that our sport needs to be stopped, so we're lobbying very hard at the moment to find an alternative solution to balance the conservation with the hunting.
Okay, so you're trying for a sensible
arrangement, because we've always had the hare protected under the Game Acts, and we feel that's where the protection should lie.
Is it an endangered species, in fact?
Well, the experts on the matter are the Quercus Research Group from Queen's University, and they seem to think that the population levels are stable and that there's no pressure genetically on the population, that it should be able to maintain its levels. And they see that field sports actually have a positive role to play in the conservation, in that areas where field sports are practiced, hare numbers tend to be higher.
Okay, thank you very much. You'll be at the Game Fair at Shane's Castle next week, and no doubt the one in Birr, County Offaly later on in August. Will all the supporters be there too? Will hunting pink be in full cry?
Well, there'll certainly be some hunting pink on display, but the real purpose is to take the hounds to meet those people who don't normally hunt, to give them an opportunity to see the hounds and the horses, and get an opportunity to talk to people who do hunt.
Well, the first fair takes place in the scenic splendour of Shane's Castle, Antrim, next weekend, and it's followed by the twin at Birr, County Offaly in the Irish Republic later in August. What we're going to do today is talk to the people that are here at this impressive launch. Government ministers, self-confessed field sports enthusiasts, even one who's a newly elected MP. And we'll find out what's on offer at the fairs and see those specially commissioned works of art, all to do with a horse called the Birr Turk. Arlene Foster, you're a government minister. You're here at the launch of the Great Game Fairs of Ireland 2010, and indeed the launch of some particularly fine artwork to mark the Game Fair's Year of the Horse. What's your message today?
Well, in this beautiful sunlight, it's very understandable why people would want to come along to game fairs. I mean, I've been a great supporter of them myself personally, but also as tourism minister, because I think they can deliver a very good, if you like, event for people to come along to and enjoy themselves and see all that country life really has to offer. It's a tremendous event, and I'm very supportive of it.
You mentioned the economy and tourism, for which indeed you are responsible. What effect do you think have the Great Game Fairs of Ireland had on tourism? There was one recently at Ballywalter, there's one at Shane's Castle coming up this week, next weekend, and another one over the border later in August. What effect do you think they have on the country?
Well, I think they add to the diversity of the product for tourism here, very much so, and not only for our domestic visitors, but indeed for a lot of international visitors who want to come along and experience the way of life, if you like, of the countryside. I think it's just a tremendous, another element, if you like, to our tourism offering here in Northern Ireland. I remember my very first game fair, it wasn't as pleasant as it is today. It was very, very wet, and I ended up buying 5 pairs of Wellington boots, but there you are. It's always good to spend money when you're at the game fair as well.
That trade stand will be there again. Just finally now, we have some very, very fine pictures on display of the Birr Turk, which, and I'm not a horse expert, but I understand this was one of the forefathers, if you like, of today's modern thoroughbred, and was a war horse around the end of the 17th century. What's your impression of the art?
Well, I think it's beautiful, and it's a lovely way to present the Year of the Horse for the game fairs, to have these beautiful paintings on display here today, and it sort of brings you back to that time, and to look at the way in which she's captured the animal. I think it's just tremendous.
Well, there's nobody listening, but tell me, which one would you like to take home and hang on the wall?
I could take any of them home at all, but I'd have to declare it, of course.
Of course you would. Arlene Foster, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now let's talk to Des Crofton of the NARGC. It's a big organisation, never one to shrink from controversy. Des, you're the chief of the National Association of Regional Game Councils, the NARGC. Why are you here today?
Well, I'm here today because, first of all, country sports is a very, very important part of Irish life. It's a very important part of rural Ireland. And it defines for rural people very much what their life is and what their lifestyle is. The game fairs of Ireland give expression to that and allow people to come and celebrate the way of life which they have in common cause with their neighbours from other parts of the country.
Tell me this, are there any clouds in the shooting horizon? I mean, for example, I do know that there's some draconian legislation across the water in the UK. Is that the sort of position that's under threat here?
Well, it has never been the position in Ireland. We're still pretty close to the countryside and pretty close to farming. However, there are clouds on the horizon, and the big cloud comes in the form of a minister for the environment, who is one of the Green Party coalition partners. And being Minister for the Environment, he is also in charge of hunting. And unfortunately, that's a bit tantamount to putting the fox in charge of the chicken coop. He comes from a party which has as its objectives, readily available on its website, its objective to ban all forms of field sports. So that cloud is on the horizon. He's currently bringing forward 2 pieces of legislation which have been agreed in the programme for government, one of which will ban the last carted stag hunt in the world, which exists in the Republic of Ireland, and the other piece of legislation which was designed to regulate the activities of commercial puppy farms, and everybody supports that, but he has now decided to include hunt kennels in the inspection regime, which will open hunt kennels up to being inspected by animal welfare organisations, the very organisations who seek to ban hunting.
Des, are you simply saying to the politicians, if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Well, we're saying to the politicians that, first of all, yes, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But secondly, at a time when the country is on its knees to be prioritising government time and parliament time to deal with legislation like this, when there are economic, health, education issues far more pressing, it just beggars belief.
You're saying get your priorities right.
Well, the Fianna Fáil, which is the senior partner in government, its core support is in the rural constituencies in Ireland. In those constituencies, a poll has just been published, and their support base has just collapsed dramatically. They are now the smallest party in the Republic of Ireland in terms of support, and they've moved to the completely other end of the scale. And the reasons which people in Northern Ireland are giving for this is because they feel the Fianna Fáil has sold out to a green agenda which threatens their way of life.
Des, how many members did you say you had in your organisation?
In my organisation, we have 28,000 members.
That's a serious political lobbying group.
Well, it's only a small part of the bigger political lobbying group, which is 300,000 people who are involved in all forms of field sports in the Republic of Ireland. It's a very high percentage of the population.
If you were to try and attract these 300,000 people to the great game fairs of Ireland, Shane's Castle, Birr, and County Offaly, what would you say to them?
I'd say that we'd come for a really, really good day out. If you want to get into a festival mood, have a party, bring a picnic, bring a portable barbecue. Even if it's raining, we'll take care of you, we'll find something for you to do. But everybody who comes goes away just waiting for the next time round next year.
And you don't have to wear green wellies, you can bring the wife as well.
You don't have to wear green wellies. In fact, you should always take your wife with you. Sometimes it's easier than kissing her goodbye.
Des Crofton, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
John King, Shannon Development, you're very welcome to Stormont. Why are you here today?
Well, we're here today as with Shannon Development to lend our support to the launch of the Great Game Fairs of Ireland brand. We have one part of that branding in our region, which is in the midwest of Ireland. That's the counties of Offaly, Tipperary, Limerick and Clare. So it's a whole contrast of tourism activity across our region. The Game and Country Fair takes place in Offaly in a town called Birr. In Birr Castle Domain and Gardens, and it's a fantastic host location for the event there. And we, as a government-supported company, we're all about encouraging investment in industry, in tourism and in infrastructure. So the Game and Country Fair is a very significant factor for us.
So you use it as a tool to promote the area, basically?
Yeah. I mean, it works on a whole lot of levels. I mean, it's the event itself. It runs, it brings in exhibitors, it brings in participants, so they're all coming to Birr to take part in it. Of course, it brings in a huge audience then who come to see what's going on and take part and have a look at it. It's fantastic for bringing families, for bringing in day trippers, for bringing in people who stay. I mean, last year, our estimates are around 30,000 people were at the event in August in Birr County Offaly. And the weather wasn't great, so, you know, the opportunity, we believe, is that, and the signs are good.
30,000 in 2 days, that's
30,000, yeah,
good.
That's very good, and that can be higher, and the organisers themselves believe with a fair wind, you know, this year, we're going to get more people.
I think more and more governments, and especially open-minded people like Arlene, realise what we can do for tourism in Northern Ireland, what we have already done for tourism in Northern Ireland. But more and more, if you like, we're bringing country sports into the mainstream of tourism promotion and activity.
Well, that's the horses and hounds for you. Let's look at the paintings. Here we are with some exceptional works of art. What inspired you to paint this particular subject?
I've always been painting race horses, mainly race horses. And this horse in particular, he was the first recorded thoroughbred. All thoroughbreds these days can be traced back to him. So I was particularly interested that he fought in Ireland. He eventually came to Ireland and fought in the Battle of Boyne and Outram. He actually raced in the north in Down Royal.
So he was a war horse?
He was.
And a racehorse?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe he was one of the three founders of the thoroughbred?
Yeah. He originated from Vienna, Buda. I think he was captured in Buda, that's what they think.
Yes.
The battle.
Have you always painted horses?
Yeah, I've always painted thoroughbreds, mostly race horses.
Okay. And your sister, do you paint horses as well?
Mostly hunting scenes and also dog quarters and maybe shooting scenes.
But you specialise in equine art?
Yeah, more the hunting side than racing.
Okay. What's your next project?
We'll be at Shane's.
You'll be at Shane's Castle?
Yeah, with these paintings.
With the paintings?
Yeah, and
well, that's
some
fantastic.
hunting. We usually have hunting art.
Okay, and then are they going to Birr in County Offaly?
Yeah, hopefully Birr then after this.
Well, all I can say is they're magnificent paintings, and what a fitting way to mark the Great Game Fairs of Ireland's 2010 Year of the Horse.
Yes,
Thank you very much
Thank you
indeed.
very much.
Thank you. Well, that's it from Stormont. I hope you've enjoyed it so far, but I did promise you a couple of more things. We're going to talk to that politician who is a hunting, shooting, fishing enthusiast. He's an MP, he's an MLA. He's going to shake up this place. He's going to shake up Westminster too. Let's go down to the Field of Dreams and talk to him. See you there. Jim Shannon,
Right.
MLA,
Right.
MP, now at
MP.
Westminster.
Yes, yes. I'm very pleased to be there. Looking forward, honoured and privileged to be at Westminster
Okay.
to represent the people of Stratford.
But you're a country sports enthusiast. Are you going to take that sort of stance across in Westminster and shake those boys up?
Yeah, well, that's been my intention, of course, as well. I made my maiden speech there last week, and in my maiden speech, I referred to country sports because it's part of me, it's part of who I am. And I said that I was very pleased that the people of Stratford had supported me and had voted me in. And it wasn't only the people of Stratford who were very pleased. I understand the pheasants and the ducks of Stratford are pleased as well because they'll be away for 2 days. So there'll be nobody trying to shoot them. At least I won't be for 2 days anyway, a week thereabouts, you know.
But you're a country boy through and through.
I am, yeah. But I've been fortunate all my life to have lived in the country.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't a shooter and never was interested in that sort of a thing. He was just like to work.
Yeah.
When I was a young boy, I used to go up to my grandparents up in Strabane, outside Ernie, outside Strabane, and we would have had my cousin Kenneth would have took us shooting as a young boys, and that probably instilled in me at that early stage a love of shooting, and through that, because I don't think it's just shooting, through that comes your love of the countryside as well, and to me that's so important.
But you're going to speak out for field sports.
Yeah, I've put my marker down already. There's no doubt about it. My campaign, I support the right of us to shoot, to fish, to hunt. That's always been me. That's not going to change. Indeed, it's probably going to intensify because at Westminster will have more opportunities to do that. There will be a debate coming up, maybe not in the immediate Parliament, but certainly in the rear of the Parliament to do with the Hunting Act. And I'd be supporting the repeal of the Hunting Act, that people should have that opportunity to hunt without any restrictions.
Jim, we had a lot of colour, glamour, excitement,
Indeed,
promoting field sports on the steps of Stormont.
good stuff.
Could you see that ever happening at Westminster?
Well, I'd have to say to you, yes, I would love to see that day coming. It was always my idea to promote the game fairs at the Assembly here in Stormont in Northern Ireland, and that's happened. And perhaps maybe that day can still happen at Westminster, where field sports can have its rightful place, and people can look upon it and say, yeah, they have a right to have that hobby or that pastime, and that they're not doing people any harm. Maybe a wee bit more understanding from those who are perhaps maybe more anti is needed. Certainly, I believe at Westminster someday could be a venue for perhaps that there. I look forward to that day. I hope it'll be in my political lifetime. If it's not, I'll sow the seeds for today anyway, and it may happen sometime in the future.
Well, that's the day from Northern Ireland, but it's not really all over. You'll be back next week for Shane's Castle when the real fun starts. Until then, take care. We'll see you at Shane's. Bye.